Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 284. Now I'm going to start off by saying thank you to everyone that voted in my Reaper challenge last week, to all the regulars who vote every week and to the new people that voted. And if you've not voted yet, please do get stuck in. It'll be awesome to have your name appear on my list and with the chance of winning a miniature. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'm going to pop on screen now a list of 10 miniatures. They're Reaper miniatures. I had a massive backlog and several years ago I decided to get your help, my wonderful viewers, in basically painting my way through them and catching up, and it's been going really well and I'm quite close to the end now. So what the idea is that you pick 2 of the miniatures that you see on the list on screen. There is also a list in the description with links to the Reaper website if you're not sure what a miniature looks like, so you can check it out. Leave a comment below with both of the miniatures that you want me to paint, both of the blister packs, and the ones with the most votes I will paint the following week, and everyone that votes gets an entry per miniature they pick into a draw. So we'll go into that now. This last week was the 4th week of the round, which means that I've put everyone who's voted into my Spinner of Doom, and Richard Grant won. So please reach out to me, mate, and you can, if you leave a comment, I'll need to have your address, and also I'll need to know which miniature you want. So reach out to me and we'll negotiate that, and I'll get that in the post to you, so congratulations. And last week I painted up 2 blister packs, which was 6 miniatures. I'll pop a picture on the screen now to show you what they look like. I'm pretty pleased with them. And yeah, you can see how I painted them on my other channel, which is An Average Painter. I'll be releasing those videos tomorrow. And now, after a long intro, last week. So last week I've actually picked 4 miniatures to paint. So we have Ladoni, Female Rogue. These all got, I think one of them got 5 votes, one got 4 and 2 got 3. And I just thought, you know what, I'm trying to get through them. Ladoni, Female Rogue. The Evil Sorcerer. Alin, Gontosaurus. Gontosavus even. And Damon, Male Thief. So there we are. So I'll get those painted up next week, and yeah, you get to see them in next week's vlog. So thank you to everyone that voted, thank you to everyone that is going to vote, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. There is actually another video, I published one yesterday, which will be linked in the description, and also there will be a card for it, because I did quite a lot of tidying up, and it got so long that I took it out of the vlog and put it in its own video. So go and check that out as well if you haven't yet. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again at the end. Right, so let's have a look and see what these miniatures are that won for me to paint this week. So it's just 2 sprues, but 6 miniatures. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we've got the zombies. Looks like there's a fair amount of clean-up needed to be done on these miniatures, but I don't think that'll take me too long. They look pretty cool. And then there's the Maggot Crown Men-at-Arms. Now they do look awesome. I'm excited to paint those up. I'm not sure how I'm going to do them. I will either do them all the same colour or do something where I do them all different. I'm not sure. I'll decide that when I'm sat down painting them, which is how I always do it. I don't really plan ahead at all. So I'll get these cleaned up, get all the kind of bits of extra metal and what have you taken off, and then get them washed, scrubbed in hot soapy water, and glued to bases, and then primed. And once that's done, I'll show you what they look like, tell you how easy it was to clean up, and then we'll crack on with painting them. So yeah, thank you ever so much to everyone that's already voted this week. And if you haven't, go on, what you're waiting for, get down there and put your vote in the comments below. Well, that was sudden. Suddenly finished bag 1. So I've opened bag 2, split it out. That looks like that's not going to take me very long as well. So this is a super quick build. I'm enjoying it actually. I'm really looking forward to getting it finished and having a play. This is probably the first one I actually want to play with. So yeah, so I'll come back to that tomorrow now. I'm not going to do 2 minutes with bag 2. 6 minutes on bag 1 was enough, and yeah, I've done the splitting as I say. Right, I have decided what I'm going to do with this. I'm just going to get some green stuff. I'm going to go in, I'm going to fill in the gap, and I'm just going to have it as just a gap. So we're just not going to have the swoopy thing going down the front, which is what it should have. It's a shame, but I'll tell you what, once it's painted, I won't even remember that this happened. So I'll get some green stuff, fill it in, prime it, show you what it looks like when it's filled in actually, and then get some primer on it, and then get back to painting. I think it's actually against the law to mix the correct amount of green stuff. So this is what I got left out, and I literally used the tiniest edge off the end. But you can see that that is now filled, and I think that's going to be fine, so I'll let that go off and then do, as I say, slap a quick bit of grey primer on it and then carry on with the painting. Well, here we are, all sorted. I decided to not add extra bases because their bases are quite big. So yeah, there was no point in basing up the Dreadmere mercenaries, but they are ready now to be painted. So, or the Maggot Crown Men in Arms, sorry, Dreadmere mercenaries are still up for option. Sorry, I've just been looking at the list, and that's why. Yeah, so the Maggot Crown Men at Arms. No point in adding extra bases for them. So yeah, so they're now going to go onto the painting bench, and I'll try and get them done and show you what it look like when they're finished. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's voted already. Thank you to everyone that voted for these ones. And if you've not voted this week, what are you waiting for? This project is all about saving my massive vats of paint. So once again, I am stirring with my rod of rebar that I stole from a builder who probably actually didn't want me to steal it, but whatever. So yeah, stirring this up. This one is not too far gone, which is nice. This is one of my favourite colours, chocolate. And it actually smells good as well, which is quite concerning. So anyway, yeah, we're just going to get this mixed up. And then when I've got it mixed, now I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. What I really need is a agitator machine to vibrate it, don't I? But I don't have one, so well I do, but it's tiny. So we just have to go with what we've got. Work with the tools you have at your disposal, hey? Right, so I'm denard over this, and I have decided to go for the simpler of my ideas, and I might come back with a different idea and another build. So all I'm going to do is take my chocolate brown and I'm going to let the black come through slightly so it gives it some texture, and so you can kind of pretend it's maybe wooden, a wooden kind of like, you know, the can you see that? It's very bright, it's very difficult to film them. Let me move it into the shade. Maybe you better see it a little bit better. So yeah, deliberately let the black come through so it looks like a little bit of a wood grain. And I'm just going to do that and paint all the way over the outside of all of the building. I was having some other ideas which could be quite cool with using air dry clay and bits of wood to show a wattle and daub, maybe a little bit of a broken looking effect. So you have like the smooth clay showing off the wattle and the daub, sorry, and then little bits peeled off that show off the wattle underneath. But yeah, this is how to make something out of cardboard, not using like more advanced techniques. So of course I have used the teddy bear fur, but I don't mind that too much. So yeah, so I'm just going to go around both levels and do it like this. See what it looks like when it's dried, and maybe do 2 coats, but I think one should be enough just to give it the kind of dirty semi-wooden panelled look that I'm going for. And I think then we're pretty much done. This is playable. Both, you can have it just as a build-in on a game board, or you can actually If you're doing Dungeons and Dragons, you can actually have an encounter inside because it's done in squares. The top isn't, but it'd be quite easy if that's what you were going for, to get a pencil and mark in some squares up the top, up on the second floor as well. But for me, I don't do that really. I do measured movement for most of my games rather than moving from square to square, and my D&D is always done virtually. Anyway, I'm nattering and making this clip longer than it needs to be. And I've nearly finished the ground floor. So I'll finish this off and then we'll have a look. I think the last thing I'm going to do is a little bit of flock on the roof just to give a little bit of interest. So make it look like there might be something growing on the roof, which there often is on thatch. Yeah, there we are. That's the ground floor done. 2 minutes, doesn't take long. So I'm deliberately doing this, leaving the brush marks because that's the effect I want. And I'll review it when it's dried, because what does happen is it dries a lot darker than it looks when it's wet. So I'll do the other one and I'll let you know if I do second coat. Might show you what it looks like when it's dried and then we'll make a decision. But yeah, 4-minute clip, just under. First floor done. Right, so it's a subtle effect, but I actually think I quite like it because of what I'm going to do next. So I'm not going to do anything on the top layer. But what I am going to do is come along with a little bit of PVA glue. And this is the ground floor, as you can see. So we're just going to put some PVA glue, make sure I'm in shot, along the bottom, like this. And you can also build it up a bit. And this is a really good technique to use if you don't want to do bases, but you do want to have some kind of tie-in. And then, get my flock and drop it on. And if you want to tie in and make it look like it lives in an environment, but you don't want to build a full base for your terrain, then this just makes it look like there's maybe some mould or grass or plants or something at least going on in the environment. So I'll do that all day around. I'll do it all on camera. And the second thing I'm going to do is the same kind of idea. So just come along, put some PVA glue on the roof. And then scatter some flock on. And I will use 2 different colours just for interest. I'll do that also on the surround. And that's that. So that will give it a little bit more life. You don't want to put too much on, but particularly this style of roof does gather moss and grass and all sorts of stuff, and it'll just add a little bit of life to the whole thing. So I'm going to sit and do that now, and I think apart from maybe something for the bar top, which I'm considering, I think that might be the end of this, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm just going to put a YouTube video on, watch a YouTube video and do some flocking. Well, I was a bit closer to the end of that than I realised yesterday, so I'm going to open pack 3, as you can see, give that a bit of a sort, and then I think, having only done about 90 seconds so far on this, I think I will probably carry on a little bit more. So I'll get these sorted out into their colours as I do, and then I'll come back, turn the camera back on, and get back to the time lapse. But I'm enjoying this. It's going well. It's a fun little build. Showed it to Rosie yesterday on my call with her, and she was very impressed. Very impressed indeed. So that's pretty cool as well. Right, I'll get this all split, and I'll be back in a second for more time lapse. Right, so that's done yesterday. It's now the next day. Let it dry overnight, and we have our nice green kind of effect. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make use of some Liquitex acrylic medium matte varnish. Slop it onto my plate over here, and I'm just going to actually paint over the entirety of the roof, just as one final sealer, because yeah, I've used water-based all the time, so this will now seal it and make it last a bit longer, and also keep the grass on, because it could easily rub off. I'm probably going to try and use this. I'll hopefully have some games coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I might try and make use of this kit in those games. Anyway, so I will get that done. I'll seal this, and I will also seal the wall. It's a very difficult to film this with how bright it is. We are definitely in the spring right now, but yeah. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. I'll just paint all this over, let it dry, and then I'll bring it back, and that'll probably be the last thing. I'm still undecided on the bar top, but yeah, let's get this painted up, and we're nearly finished. Well, here we are. The matte varnish is dried, so hopefully that won't scrape off. And I did matte varnish the walls as well. I am looking at them, wondering whether I shouldn't put a little bit more brown on them, but I don't really mind. I think it looks quite nice. It looks like a very dingy, grungy kind of place, and that's pretty much my aim. So here we have my miniature, which I can use for scale, and you can see he fits nicely in front of the door. There are things I could do. I could put double doors on there. I could set it on a baseboard with some on a base with some other kind of like layout stuff around it. But if I think for now, and to show off the technique, it's quite nice. Another thing I could do is put some guides on the bottom of here so that it doesn't slide around. You can see this slides around. But it's okay, and it's quite nice that it lifts out so easily, so you can make use of the inside if you want to. So our adventure can be inside. Oh, that's not very good, and he just broke when I tried to pick him up. Oh well, never mind, I'll fix that later. But anyway, our adventurer can fit inside, and he was going to fight that little monster, but hey, he could just go up to the bar and say, "Give me a beer, please." So yeah, pretty cool. The stairs do line up, so that's nice. And then we have a wooden kind of like floored area up here, and you can put scatter terrain in if you want, so beds or what have you if you wish to make it look a little bit nicer. And you can shoot out through the windows and what have you. Got windows on all sides and one there, but nothing on that side. Just makes it a little bit more interesting. No windows downstairs at all. Decided against doing windows downstairs for various reasons, but there is a front and a back door, so you can run through the building if you want to. So I think I will wrap that project up right there for now. Just also to add, if you want to, of course you can make it into a single story building. So in a couple of weeks, I'm hoping to get a game in. I'm hoping to do some battle companies, Middle Earth SBG. So I will try to put this onto the table and then film that, and then you'll get to see it in game, which could be quite good fun. But yeah, for now, I think I'm going to wrap that up and call that a project finished. Well, this really is starting to come together now, as you can see. That was the third bag. I'm going to get the fourth bag out now, which does include the operator. But yeah, it's really starting to take shape. Pretty cool. It's really quick. Really not a bad build, actually. I think I said this last time, but I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to get out bag 4, and then tomorrow I'll start on that and see how far I get. There's still a fair few bits and pieces left over, which is a bit strange. And there was actually a mistake in the instructions. So if you look here, it says that you only want two of these, but then on the assembly you've got to get two of these in there. So this one in particular I think is a bit strange that that's not been used, but anyway, onwards and upwards. I'll get the next bag out. It's not falling apart, so even if it is missing something, it doesn't seem to be structural. Well, the fourth bag was super quick. Just made that little figure there, and then did the final bit of the digging arm or whatever it's called. I don't even actually know what the real name is, because I've got a book for Rosie that describes what each of the names of each of these sections is, but I can't remember. So yeah, so that's that. So I've done enough for today, so I will split out and separate out bag 5, and then tomorrow we're nearly done. We're very, very close actually. I think it was 6 bags. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it was 6 bags. So we've maybe got 2 more days left on this, which isn't very much at all, is it? But yeah, that's cool. I will split this bag up and be back tomorrow to do a little bit more on it. Really enjoying this build. Really simple. This is a good one for kids, I think. This is very, very simple to put together, and I think the kids will really, really enjoy it. So I'd recommend this if you've got a child that wants to get into Lego and likes diggers. This is a really good kit. Well, I have been working on this on and off, and I am making some progress. So I've managed to near enough. There is going to need to be some filler done on this, which is a shame, but I have managed to get this to roughly work. I've had to shave off bits of the plastic. I've been very carefully working with my hobby knife, and yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to work out okay. I haven't yet glued this piece in, but I have glued the front in, and I've put a weight in the front as well. Now it says 10 grams, I've only managed to fit 5 in. I've no idea how you're going to fit 10 grams in there because there's not enough space. So I might get some blue tack or something and shove in and fill in all the gaps with blue tack, just so that it's not a tail sitter, because if we go over to the other kit, you can see that's a tail sitter, which is a bit disappointing. So yeah, so I am working on this. I am making progress slowly. I managed to get back to it, and hopefully in the next couple of days I will start to make even better progress and really, really crack on. But hey, we are where we are. Right, so I've been having some thoughts about what I'm going to do with this, and I have made a decision. So what we have is we have multiple layers, and they slide together, as you can see, like this. So I don't want it to be one whole monolith. I don't want it to be like a massive thing that I have to carry around, but I do want to not have it as all the separate layers, like each individual layer, like this one comes off of that one or what have you. So what I think I'm going to do is, you can see here, this over here is where the steps up come in and where it goes into the cave system. So what I'm thinking about doing is sticking these 3 layers together and these 3 layers together, which I'll do now, and then I can start to carve out a cave system inside, and I can stick these 2 layers and these 2 layers. I can have some steps up, mark where that's going to be into here, and potentially have have it so that you've got not so that you take each layer off and you have like different caves on each layer, but you maybe have the bottom and you have this, and then you have a hole through so you can climb up a ladder, and then you'll get into some more caves over at this level. This is deep enough so that a normal 35mm figure or 28mm figure would be able to sit on the and be hidden. So if you've got the whole cave and you're coming in from the top, as you come down in your adventure, you can start to discover things that are already inside. So that's what I'm going to try and do, which is going to be a little bit fun, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So I bought myself some foam, which I think is the right stuff, and we're going to give it a go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to glue this layer to this one. I'm just going to do this over a couple of days. I'm not going to give myself any pressure. So this stuff is crazy. It expands a lot. Goodness me, wants to come out fast. And I don't want to put the glue too close to the edge, as I say, because it expands quite much. And I don't want it touching over here, so I'm going to move that across. There we are. So with that done, what we can do is we can lift this back on and put it in place. And I can make use of this shelf here to make sure that it's lined up correctly. There we are. And there we are. So that should now dry relatively quickly. Make sure that's lined up. Yep, that should go off relatively quickly. And what I can now do is take this one off, put that foam on and stick this one down. And then what I'll do is I'll leave it for a little while, a couple of hours, and then I'll come back and I'll take these top two off and glue that one to that one and then this one to this one. And then we should be good. So let's see. Just right, shake. There we are. Good. So I am going to once again use that as a guide, but I will separate them. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Don't want that on that table. I am going to separate them while it dries, so I don't want them to accidentally actually stick together. So let's get them really nicely lined up. And there we are. Right, so hopefully that's going to work. So what we'll now do is slide the whole thing apart and we'll leave it and come back in a bit and do more gluing in a bit, and hopefully that will now we'll end up with the bottom layer all stuck together, and then I can start to come in and carve out what caves I want down here, and I can glue these other top two on that are just out the back, and we'll get that all done. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I'll bring you along for the next step when I get to it, whatever that is. But yeah, I basically have decided I really want to get this. I do want to do something with this. It's probably only going to be another cup, so I'm probably only going to do this layer on top, and then maybe one or two more on top of that. I don't think I'll do much more than that. So we'll have 3 layers of of caves and a bit of a maze, and then I'll work on the outside. So I kind of got excited about it again. So yeah, we shall see. We shall see how it turns out. It's going to be fun. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, it's not going to be a lot of materials. Most of the materials have already been worked with, as you can see, so it's not going to cost very much. Right, so I've just been realising that I've made a bit of... I've made a bit of a mistake, I think. A little bit of a mistake, not a huge one, just a little one. And the mistake I've made is that I want to put a bit of foam or something down on this. I'm not going to be going straight onto the wood. So there's going to be some height added. And even if I do something as narrow or as thin as this, and then I'm going to put things on top of it, I'm going to build up with terrain, then my backdrop is too low. So here is a lesson. So what I'm going to try to do is take the backdrop off. So I'm going to try to do, I'm going to take the backdrop off. I think it's just some screws, it shouldn't be too bad. And then what I'll do is I'll put the backdrop back on once I have a layer level, because the next thing I want to do is put some foam on this, or some cork or something like that, or maybe both, So for a couple of reasons: one, it'll deaden it, and it will also mean that I can have a little bit of contour, a little bit of height and depth, and it'll allow me to also build up the tracks, because what I might do is put the tracks on top of this type of foam, which I can shave the sides off, round it a bit. Anyway, yeah, there we are. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to turn this around now, get my screwdriver, take the backdrop off, and hopefully it will come off. I can't remember if I glued it. I might have done. If I did, then I might be in trouble. But we shall see. Yeah, I will then, the next thing I want to do is just cover the whole of this with foam so that I can carve in it and play with it, you know, put a stream in it or whatever I want to do. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I have also been working, I'll do another clip in a minute, on the track plan, and it's the track plan for this and also the track plan for the main build I've been working with anyway, so I'll do a little clip on that in a minute. But first of all, let's have a look at this backdrop. Well, I did glue it and I did screw it, but I did manage to take it off. It's just a very, very tiny amount of damage done there, which is a shame, but it's not the end of the world, and I can very much hide that behind some other terrain, I'm sure, building or whatever. So I'm going to put this to one side, somewhere I can keep it safe, and then when I'm done, I'll be able to stick it back on higher up, and it'll work quite nicely, I think. So yeah, I'm disappointed in myself for making that mistake. Very much could have very easily have avoided that, but yeah, these are the things you do, and you do make mistakes, and you've got to learn from them. All right, so here is my any rail design, and here is my running out of ink for my printer. So this is the shelf layout, as you can see, and this is the original plan that I printed out from the Wyman info page, and I've adjusted it a little bit. I've put a curve in on this one here just to bring me away from this corner, and that's meant that I've been able to move the whole track up, whereas if that was straight, I had to have this quite low down near the front, and there's a concern for locos and stuff falling off the front of the track. So yeah, so I've done that. This is actually measured very accurately. This is the width of the backboard, and so this is where the gap between here and the wall is because of the backboard. But if we zoom out, you can see just how small this little shelf layout is compared to the main project. So this here is the doorway to room 13, which is where I'm in now, and outside here is where I've made a start with Rosie. We painted the walls, and we made the top, the light shelf that goes over the upper level, but that was a long time ago, and it's just sat and done nothing, which is why I'm trying to get stuck into this now. So the red line is the big kind of like the outline of where I've got space for my layout going into the games room. This is the main one, and then if I get rid of my gaming table and turn this into a train room, then I've got that extra space as well. So yeah, so the plan, the thought is, as I've said a few times, maybe have a lift out section here so I can connect these two if I want to, but this is where the main thing is. We've got the holes through the walls here. There's two of them on each, one at the bottom level and one at the top level, so the train can come through to outside room 13 from the main room. And yeah, so I'm going to start to make plans on that, but I just thought it'd be interesting to show you just how much I want to do. But first of all, we're going to get this one done, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying being stuck into it. So yeah, but it's going to be a rather large project, so there's a lot more to come on this as we go forwards. But we'll get this shelf layout finished first, and make sure that I do it in a way that means that I can do a drop out or a lift out section if I want to. I'd hate to back myself into a corner. But I'm not going, and I'm going to start coming up with some rough track plans and some ideas for the main layout, and then I'll get started on those, and obviously you'll be brought along with that as well. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff to do on this model railway. Right, so I'm under my helmet, as you can see. So if I don't get good video, I'm really sorry. But what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get this closed up, because I think that's the next step to do. I probably should check that, but I'm not going to actually glue on camera. I'm just going to show you how I'm going about doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the back first, and I'm going to wrap something around that to hold it tight, and then when that's glued, I've double checked, I should be able to actually mostly close it up, and there'll be a little bit of filler needed at the front, but that'll be all right. I'll be able to get away with that, and potentially a little bit of filler needed underneath, but that's okay, I can get away with that. So we're getting somewhere. We are definitely getting somewhere with this. The only thing I might do is start from the front and work back, because I do have the engine cowling to put on, and it'd be nice if that fit. So you can see we're really close now. With all the effort I've put in over the last few days, we're really close to being able to close this up and not have too many gaps. It's not been very easy at all. I'm pretty sure it's my fault. I'm pretty sure I even know what mistake I made. I think this is partially a artifact of doing the painting first, and some of the bits are just a millimetre or so out because of the thickness of the paint on them. So I think going forwards, what I'll be doing is I'll be cleaning up after I've primed and any painting before on any glue surfaces. So there we are, live and learn. But yeah, so I might do the front, I think, and keep that clamped together, get that secured. I might even do some plastic glue rather than super glue on that, so I think that might work better. And then move backwards. But I'm not going to film all that, because it's going to take absolutely ages and ages. But I did want to show you the technique I'm going to do. So once I've finished putting that together and close this up, I'll move on to the next steps, and I'll keep bringing you along. The good thing is that the painting that I'm going to do on the outside is super simple. I'm doing the black one because I think it looks cool. So yeah, I will carry on with this and bring you along for the next step when I've got something to show. Hopefully it won't be me coming back and going, God, I'm back to square one again and it's all in bits. But it might happen, you never know. Well, that arrived quickly. My Class 09, which is going to be my locomotive for my switching puzzle, arrived today. So this is a sound-fitted, brand new Bachmann mainline Class 09. I'm not going to get out of its box because I want it to stay nice. But yeah, really pleased that arrived so quickly. And you'll be seeing it being running hopefully when I get this whole layout done. So hopefully relatively soon you'll see this actually in motion and pulling some wagons. So yeah, pretty cool. I am continually and perpetually fighting storage and moving things around and what have you. So inside a lot of these cupboards, you thought I had a lot of plastic kits. If you've looked in room 13, you don't know the half of it. I have loads and loads and loads of model kits, and I also have doggos running around and making noise. And what I need to do is move these into room 13 onto the shelves with the rest of my kits, so that I can move these units somewhere, and then I can put some racking up here so I can tidy in the games room and pull all of my model railway stuff out into an organised fashion, and then it can be easily accessible and I can get to stuff, and it's also out of the way in room 13, in the games room. So first of all, what I'm going to do is, these are boxes from some bookshelves I just put up, the games storage that is in the guest room. So I'll move these out of the way, need to shift my Lego somewhere, need to clear the top of this, and need to take all of this stuff out of these units and, as I say, stack them in room 13. And then pull the shelving units from upstairs, they're all in the roof, downstairs, and make them up. They used to be here, I had them here before, and then I replaced them with this and with some bookshelves, and then I, again, and the dogs are weeing, aren't they? Oh dear, they're weeing on a towel that I put down for them to wee on. You weren't supposed to wee on that again, pups. Anyway, I should let them out. That wasn't part of this clip. Yeah, so I'm actually going in a circle here. I used to have these units here years ago, a couple of years back, and I took them down. I don't really like what they look like, but it's all I've got, so it's what I'm going to use, because I'm not going to buy yet more shelves just for this purpose. Anyway, a bit of a rambling clip, but I'm going to get stuck in. Well, I've pulled it all out, and I just thought, you know what, I'll quickly show you what I had. So over here we've got some 1/24 scale stuff that was for a diorama that never got built. Yeah, a truck stop I was going to have with some young ladies of ill repute and a driver and what have you. It's going to be quite a fun build. And then I've got all of this 1/72 scale stuff, and this is all built for Chain of Command, which is a World War II war game which I really love watching the videos on, and again, if I had someone to play against regularly I would. But we've got all sorts of awesome stuff, like we've got the Monte Cassino Abbey here, and I've got a Horsa, and I've got the D-Day box set, which is pretty cool, Battlefront starter kit. Got loads of tanks, Panzer Grenadiers, bicycle troops, more tanks. Yeah, it's Africa Corps mortar squad, some Soviet paratroopers, 81mm mortar. Yeah, whole sorts of stuff, loads of cool things. Yeah, one of these days maybe I'll get around to making it, and I'll get to doing some games. But I'll have to find someone to play with, won't I? Well, they're all done now, and I think that the zombies look a little bit better with their bases done. So yeah, it is what it is. Like I say, you're not always happy with everything you paint. Sometimes you blame yourself. In this case, I do feel pretty confident that it's the sculpts. They're just not very good, and it was very hard to pick out the details with just how blurred and fallen apart the sculpts were. But I suppose they're zombies, and so they are blurred and fallen apart. So in a sense, I suppose it's right. So thanks ever so much for voting. Don't forget to vote this week if you have not yet done already. And yeah, I'll be excited to see who's going to win and who I'm going to paint next week. Right, so here you can see I've got this thin sheet of XPS underfloor insulation, as it happens, and I've decided that this is what I'm going to use. I'm not going to use anything thicker. I don't really need to. I'm not doing lots of landforms, and this is just going to help deaden the sound and just give me a little bit of texture. So the first thing that I need to do is rough up both sides. So I won't film all of this because it's going to be a nasty sound, but I've got my wire brush, and what I do is that. And the reason to do that is because this is very shiny, and nothing will stick to it unless you do a crosshatch and scrape it with your wire brush. So I'm going to do that on both sides of the entire sheet. I might need some more than this one sheet to cover it all, but I'm going to do this first one, get what I can out of it, and then when I come to glue it down, I'll bring you back and show you how I'm going to do that. Alright, so I've done that scraping. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make use of my PU foam glue to glue it down. But the first thing to do is, to explain how I'm going to do this, I'm going to glue this section down. It doesn't take long to dry. So I'll turn it over once it's dry and cut it off, and then glue the next section down with the offcuts. So that's my plan. So what I need to do is just very carefully, very quickly, even not carefully, use a pencil to draw the extent this is going to be, and I'm going to match it so that it's flush along the front and I cut at the back. So I'll give this a good shake, and hopefully this works well. Needs to start coming out. Come on. There's definitely some stuff still in this, so hopefully this starts spraying soon. It was working fine the other day. Maybe I have to turn it upside down. Ah, here we are, here it comes. Here it comes. So, I just don't want to spray too much. I've gone a bit close to the edge there. I'm going to have to tidy that up once I've put the thing in place. And then we'll just do a little kind of Make sure that we get good coverage. And it is still squirting out even though I'm not putting pressure on. So I'll make use of that final bits of pressure, not waste any of the foam. But there we are. So now, yeah, we've got a load of foam on. So what we'll do now is take this, match it up really nicely. So we'd have to move it around too much because this is a contact adhesive. So the more you move it, the less sticky it becomes. The more we're happy, once we're happy with it, just gently press down, making sure it's flush. There we go, and you can see, well, you can see, yes, from there you can see it's squirting out a bit at this end, so I'll have to clean that out. But that's fine, it's not the end of the world, that. Just come along with a little bit of cardboard or something and scrape that up. I'll do that in a minute. And then I probably don't need to weight it down, but I'm going to just in case I knock it because I'm clumsy. And I use these things as weights quite often. So they're actually joining strips for big lumps of wood. And I use lots of, well, I did use lots and lots of lumps of wood for the renovations in my property, which is why I came across them, and now I keep them just for hobbying. So there we are, that is very much that. I've got a little bit of tidying up to do because it's just done a bloop onto my bench and I don't want that to stick to my bench. So I'll let that dry and then clean that up, and I'll come back when I'm turning over and doing the cutting and the next bit of gluing. Right, so that has now dried. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, is come along here. And it might actually have been easier to do this from the other way. But I'm going to make use of my sharp hobby knife. And I'm going to do the usual trick, which is you do multiple cuts as flat as you can. Yeah, it's a little bit better when it's actually on the surface rather than hanging over the edge. There's a lesson learned. So yeah, do multiple cuts, not try to cut it all in one go. And as I say, I have cut to the back, so any kind of rough edges is not the worst thing in the world. But if we now lift this up and turn it over, my dirty work surface, I need to clean it. I do sweep it quite regularly, but it gets dirty because I do a lot. Yeah, so now we have that on there. So what you can see is we would be able to use this offcut here if we wanted to, but what I'll probably do is not do that. I'll probably going to go and get another whole sheet like this, glue it to this, and then cut it out. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and that'll be exactly the same as what you've just seen. So there's no point in me filming that again. So yeah, there we are. That's that. So as soon as that's all done and is ready to be worked on, it might actually end up being that I pause this for now. I have ordered a bunch of scenery which should arrive in the next couple of weeks, so I might pause this for a bit while I wait for that to come, because I want to make sure that everything fits exactly correctly before I do any drilling and cutting or whatever for actual points and other things like that. So this might take a little bit of a sabbatical just while I wait for a few things to arrive. So yeah, pretty pleased about this, but I will get this last bit of stuck on here just so that we're ahead a little bit and exactly ready for when the track laying can start. Right, so I've started a little bit more on the tidying out here, and what I've decided to do is to stack these units up like this and push them over to this end and put things in them, and then if I need to, then I can get the extra shelving and put it there. But for now, I'm hoping I'm going to make use of this and not have to pull much of that shelving down. But I thought, as part of this, I'd go through a little bit of what I've got in my stash. So first of all, I've gathered together what I think is all of the vehicles. So we've got a tank. I bought a load of excavation and building material, building trucks, because I want to do that on my I want to have a like something under construction on the diorama. So we've got a couple of A400s, we've got a skid steer New Holland, we've got a Volvo and a New Holland excavator, we've got a New Holland loader, and we've got a grader. We also have a Cat 9D, which came in an amazing metal box, which is just cool as anything, so keep the box. I also have a large scale load forklift, and then a couple of steam locomotives, which are just for fun. Moving across, we have an XJS, we have an old Rover, we've got a Jaguar, and we've got a Corsa, Oxford miniatures. Then we come to the trucks. Now, Weber's is particularly special to me. Whenever I'm driving anywhere with my dad, we would always look out for the Weber's trucks, and I still, to this day, smile and think of my dad whenever I see a Weber's on the road. So I've got a couple of those, and I will probably end up with lots and lots of Weber's trucks scattered all over. I currently have one, I believe. If we walk over here, I believe I've got a Weber's truck. Have I got one out on Rosie's? No, we've got an Andrews, which is my name. I've got that in America. But I don't seem to have the Weber's truck out here. I thought I did. But hey, anyway, that's by the by. I've got a couple of vehicles over there on Rosie's layout. And then up here we've got an American style truck, which I bought in America. I'm not sure if I'll use that. Now coming over here, these are the cheaper ones. So I bought these, not realising that they're actually little kits you've got to make. So whether I make them or not, I don't know. But these are cool Japanese style sports vehicles. And then I bought a big box of very cheap, horrible, nasty cars that can just fill in car parking or go on car loaders or whatever. So those ones are not very detailed, but also far cheaper than the Oxfords. So that's probably not the extent of what I'll purchase, but I'm particularly pleased and excited to get the construction diorama done, and the fact of having the Weber's. Those are the ones that matter, really. So I'm going to stack those away, and then I will pull the next class of item, and I'll show you what I got. And if you want to see what all is inside all of this and how all this is organised, you're going to have to go and watch the specific video, which I will attempt to link up here, wherever it goes. Can never work out what I'm recording because I published that yesterday. So yeah, if you want to see more about my layout stash, then go and watch that video. It got about 45 minutes long, so I thought, you know what, I'm not going to stick that in the vlog. It'd just be way too long. So yeah, go and check it out. Well, bag 5 is done, as you can see. Squeaky chair, sorry. Bag 6 is about to start, and step 173 is one of those ones that you hate to see. So you get 41 of these times 2, and you make them into the tracks, and then you drop them over. So I have split out 41 of each. I think I've got some spare, but I'm not surprised. I think I've got 41 of each. So I'm actually just going to crack on. I've only done 6 or 7 minutes. I'm just going to finish this build, and that means that tomorrow I can start a new one, which will be really cool, tomorrow being Sunday. So the beginning of the next week's vlog will be, you'll be able to see what one I'm going to build. So I can keep that as a little bit of a surprise and hold that over till next week. So I'm just going to crack on with this, and finish up the whole of the build. I'm enjoying it so far. I'll get back to you about how much I enjoy this bit. And there you have it, finished. So I put the little dude inside, as you saw. We've got this shrapnel here, which is rubble, which is used for like moving around. So I'll keep that out of my spares box. And then we've got another couple of little figures, and we've got some warning barriers And that's really cool. And yeah, building the tracks wasn't actually too bad. As you saw, I built them in sections of 10. And funnily enough, I thought I counted 41 in each pile, and I had only counted 40 in each pile. I'm just looking, this actually does rotate as well. So there we are. That does spin. That's pretty cool. That's a really cool build. A lot of fun. I would recommend that for, it says 8+, I think, and I think that's probably about right. It's not very hard. Takes a little bit of concentration, which is very good. So I'd recommend this for your 8+-year-old. And Rosie will love playing with it, I'm sure, when she's here. So I'm going to put this in display now, and then I'm going to pick my next one. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited for the next one. Right, so I'm very quickly going to mend this, which is not going to be very difficult, I don't think, as long as I've got some glue in this tube. It doesn't come out in a rush. There we are. So a little bit of super glue there, and it's quite obvious how they go on. I did this really easily before I was filming. Not always the way. So that slots on there. There we are. And then we'll put some more glue on the edge. And then I'll leave that to go off. There we are. Very cool. That will do. Obviously, when this goes onto a layout, it will have to be weathered, and so I'll be able to really nicely cover up that little crack. So yeah, that'll be fine once it's being weathered and placed. But I'm not going to do any of that stuff until I know where it's going to sit, so I can weather it in place and make sure it fits and works. But yeah, so that's fixed. That's really good. I'm really pleased. These are lovely buildings. A bit of a shame to come across that and see that it had been damaged. It had been stored very carefully. It was wrapped up, as you can see, in some tissue paper. But I think what must have happened is it just must have slipped slightly in carriage. This has travelled all the way across Europe. Well, I've managed to close this up. There is a gap, but it's been filled with super glue. So I did this with a mix of super glue and plastic glue, and it's taken me a long time, but I've got it there. So I'm going to carry on now, move on to the next steps, and hopefully that's the last of the really painful bits, but it might not be the last of the really painful bits. We'll find out, and I'll let you know. But I'm going to continue gluing away and painting as I need to, yeah, I'll show you what it looks like when I get to the next stage, or when it gets to the next little bit of challenge. Yeah, pretty happy though to have gotten past this. It's been staring at me for ages. I couldn't tell you the last time I worked on this. I just found it on the windowsill downstairs and thought, you know what, I'm going to get on with this. So it's primed, and all it needs is painted, and it's not going to be very difficult to paint. I've primed another couple of bits and pieces on here as well, but there's like a chair and a table and a pan and what have you that also needs to be primed over here. But I'm just going to start painting the building and what's primed already, which won't take long, I don't think. I'm quite excited to see how this looks when it's finished. It's a really cool little building. But yeah, when I last touch this, I don't know. I'll find out when I sort these clips out and put this clip into its folder. Be interesting to know. But it shouldn't take too long to paint, and I probably will film me painting it. Well, I've just had a little bit of a painting session, and as part of that painting session I got back onto doing this, which is really cool. Like just a bit annoying having to kind of deal with puppy chewage, but at least I'm back on with it, and yeah, I don't think I'm actually far off finishing. I do need to paint the flag though, the banner, which is absolutely not going to be painted as well as it is in the artwork. It'll be done to the best of my ability, which is pretty limited, but it will be done. So yeah, maybe get this done in the next week, and then that'll be another thing finished and out the way, which is really cool. So there we are. I nearly did the hour, and by the end of this outro it will be an hour. So just wanted to show you that this little one has been cuddling me the entire time I've been doing my editing this morning. You've been giving me cuddles, haven't you, Lily? She was not very happy when I had to stand up just now and disturb her to do this outro. Poor Poppet. But she keeps me company. So anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. If you made it this far, particularly appreciate it. If you haven't yet voted for the Reaper Challenge, then please do leave your comment down below. And with 2 of the miniatures that are on screen now, and you could be with a chance of winning one of them, like Richard Grant did this week. So yeah, thanks ever so much for voting. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you think in the comments below about anything else as well. So I will say goodbye for now. I will see you again next week. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.